Hello everyone, it's ou Emeline Rochefeuille. I'm a West Coast swing professional. I'm dancing with Jakub. Together we form GEM. And I'm about to share with you some of my stories. I started with ballroom dancing, so Latin and standard. First couple, but then very fast we were in association with South Africa, with a professional there that launched Solo Latin, which is all the Latin dances, cha-cha, samba, salsa, paso doble, and jive in line dance. So it was like solo competition. So then I did like years of that. It's called Solo Latin. And I was also a big fan of urban dances, so hip-hop. I didn't take classes per se, but I was watching tons of videos and I was just trying to reproduce myself with the body. So what I loved about West Coast swing was first the variety in music. So the fact, because music is my big passion, I think before dancing. I think I started to dance because of music. And the fact that I could move on all those songs that I just loved and from so different genre was the things that caught me first. I also love the freedom that I have in the movement while having a structure in which I can feel safe to explore. Because it's like in solo, for instance, I have all the freedom. So I can feel like a bit frozen. Whether in partner dance, it gives me like some restriction within which I can try to find how much freedom I can take for myself. So it was like a mix of both with partner dance, the exploration, the music, and the freedom. So the dancers that inspire me, again, there's too many, way too many, because I see so much beauty in different morphology and different style, especially different than mine. So I feel like the dancers that touch me more are the one that I cannot really project myself in because it's so alien, it's so foreign, but at the same time, me trying to embody their road or their approach change my dancing differently, and I really like that. But I'm very inspired by the first generation of Champ when I arrived. So all like the Tatiana, Melissa, Sarah, Jen, Jessica, it's like for me it was a gold. So I'm very saddened that I don't get to see them anymore on the floor. I wish of course Tatiana, Sarah, yes, but all those followers that I've been looking up to, I wish they would still actively dance because I'm missing that. And I love the new generation with my peers. They're amazing dancers. So if I see like Nicole, Alisa, Victoria, Bryn, Cameo, like I feel like they all have so many different tools and expression and sharpness. I think I'm very easily inspired, like even with the generation that are coming, because people keep pushing the limit of the dance, keep bringing like new elements to it. So this is in the West Coast swing scene. Outside, I'm very touched more by urban dances. I love it, and I love when it's like a fusion in between urban and more contemporary movement. And I have like some names. I have 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮𝓻 that I love, which is one of our master, like mentor in solo dance. No, I would have too many names, so I won't start to actually say anything. And I love Argentine tango, so I watch a lot of those. So with Jakub, it started, so we met in 2015 at Voici on the Promenade. And he was like a zouk professional back then, and he was starting to come into West Coast swing. And I remember 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮𝓻 that was a big fan of zouk at that time, kept screaming his name during social dance. So we were at the party and she was like, Jakub. So me and Miguel was curious and we're like, who's that guy? So we danced first. I think it was 2015 at Voici on the Promenade. I asked him to dance. And to be honest, it was not magical at all. Not a deception, but it was like, oh, I don't know why. And then we met again in 2016 at Budapest. And we bumped into each other on the social dance floor. And so we had a dance, and I didn't understand what happened. I think we both didn't understand because it was a weird, very weird realization. It's as if we were the same body. Very weird. So we stopped the dance and we're like, oh my gosh, like, what is that? So we had a second one. And since then, like, it kept being in my mind as like, oh, it was so awkward. And in 2016 summer, two of our friends, Adam and Rita, hired us for Lady and Men Style. We were not working together back then, but they had a master plan. Like, their goal was actually for us to start a partnership. So we worked together, and at the end of the workshop, the students were like, oh, it's so amazing that you guys are partnering up. It's so beautiful. But it was not the case. We're like, oh, it's not really the plan. But then we started to discuss it, and we're like, maybe they're right, and maybe we should try. So from then we started a partnership, but that was not meant to become something so intense. We wanted just to have a couple of workshops together per year while he was continuing his Zouk career. But when we announced the partnership at Budapest 2017, we got booked all year long. So then it kind of happened to us, and we went with the flow. So my decision to become a pro was a very long process. I think it took me like 6 years to get there. I never started to dance thinking that I would make it my job. But then, because I was also with Maxim for so many years, and then being in like life partnership with a professional, you see the lifestyle, you start to follow the lifestyle, you see all the benefits that it has also in terms of like freedom and self-decision, because I was an employee back then for years. And I started to do both. So I had my regular job during the week, and I was going to events and festivals every weekend. So I started to accumulate a lot of fatigue. And also throughout the years, I started to also build a reputation in the West Coast Swing community, that at a point I reached a moment where I was almost in burnout, like very, very tired. Also with all those questions going through my mind. And I knew that I had then to take a decision, like, or to stop my job and do only this because I could not keep going like that, or in a way the opposite and slow down dancing, which was not an option. And my decision was actually taken in Voici Angels, so the event that we are now, because I was teaching by myself and I was very tired, almost burnout. I lost my voice in that edition, so I had to teach without voice. And I managed. And I think I remember I came back home on a Sunday from Voici Angels, and I wrote down my quitting letter. Because I knew it kind of like boosted me, as if, oh, even if I don't find the right partner, I know I can do this by myself. I was confident. So then it's like the decision was made. And I quit. And we started a partnership with Jakub, like kind of that same wave. So then it went. So my first US Open was extremely intense because I've been going there since I started West Coast Swing. I never missed a US Open. So before I have to dance there myself, maybe I attended already like 7 or 6 edition as an attendee. And I was so inspired and moved by this experience that the switch to be the person on the floor was very, very awkward, very intense. There is nothing like dancing at the Open. There is no comparison, even if you perform this routine, at a lot of different places. The Open is, I don't know why, maybe the first time you put it on the floor, maybe like the energy with the crowd is different, the fact that you are with all your peers. and so many different people, so many art form put on the floor. So you're also proud of being part of that show. But you don't feel your body before. So you're waiting behind the curtain and you hear the couple before and all the screams, and your legs start to shake and your heart start to beat very, very hard. And we have now a tradition, it's like with Jakub, when we stand behind the curtain, we hug for the full song. So we can synchronize, calm down the system, and get connected. And then when they called our name and you walk down, the love that you receive from the crowd is so overwhelming that in a way it set the right energy for you to dance. And when the songs start to play, then it's a roller coaster. I don't understand anything. Like, I don't know what's happening. You just go through. Then it's ending pose, love back from the crowd. And I was happy that I didn't have massive mess up. Yeah. So many routines have inspired me. So many. Yeah, too many. But I feel like I'm a big fan of, let's say, the Chem generation that I was looking up to. So Jordan and Todd, Kyle and Sarah, Ben and DeLuca, Ben and Melissa, even when they came. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to see Jessica Cox on the floor so many times, but I wish I've seen her live. Benji and Tori back then. And I remember my favorite piece was Benji and Tori's, I don't remember the name of the routine, but it's the one futuristic. I don't remember the song.
Avec la clé, non? C'était pas
Avec
celle-là?
la clé, like this one. Ouais. And I remember when I was at the Open, I was sitting next to Virginie Grondin. And we watched this routine. At the end, we were crying. Because of, like, I don't know, this got me, it was a perfect routine for me. And I've watched this one tons and tons of time. So this is the one that really stick to my mind. Yeah. Okay, so the first video with Maxim, it was on Pony Deluxe at Swab. It was a choreography intensive that we had. And this choreography went really viral and we did not expect it. And I loved it because back then I was not a pro. I was still having my regular job. And I was doing some events here and there with Maxim when Nini could not go with him. So it was a big deal for me to act as a professional in the scene. And this video, in a way, brought so much visibility that it was a boost in my career for sure. I loved what we created because it's a simple choreo, really on a swing dance. So it brought a lot of joy. Like, it was a really joyful process to choreograph together, to perform together. Then we taught that choreo actually at other events because people asked for it. And we even performed it, I think it was 4 years ago, at Buddha together, after maybe having danced together for 3 years. So they brought it back as a memory, like an, how do you say, honor, or... It was very emotional. So, yeah. The second was the dance on the Macarena. And this one is following me everywhere now since we've done it. I'm really grateful about this dance now. When we did it, it was a funny moment, but to be honest, we had to pick different songs or choose. And when the songs got played, you can see me and Jordan talking. And I was telling him, oh, no way. And then he told me, we have to do it. And then I told him, I warn you, I'm not a funny dancer. And then we had to dance. And I was even like not ashamed, but like I didn't want it to be posted online. So it was not my choice. And when it started to buzz, I did not get it. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And this is what I feel partially made my career nowadays. Like my visibility on social media, also the visibility of the West Coast Swing on social media. Like I'm very grateful that it kind of helped boosting it back then. I know a lot of people writing to me that this video brings them a lot of joy, makes them start to dance. So it's amazing. Okay, so my sensation about being, let's say, one of the most followed person of the West Coast Swing on social media. Again, I'm very grateful because it brought me a lot of projects that are not West Coast Swing related, which was my goal when I started to build our platform, was to share what we do, but also to start to touch scenes that are not West Coast Swing based, because I had this desire to go beyond. I wanted to work with different art form, different artists. So it was a way for me to reach out to those crowds, which I'm very happy because this is what happened thanks to that. I won't lie, it's a lot of work and a lot of energy spent. So it's not easy every day to keep maintaining because it requires presence, you have to pay attention to the algorithm and all those things. So it takes a lot of energy. But I'm also grateful that it brings more people to the scene. This is very nice. I don't feel now pressured to build it more. So I feel like now it's kind of all self-maintaining. So now what I do is like we dance, I post. If people like, they like. If they don't like, they don't like. But I'm just now, it's a platform for us to share what's happening in our dancing life with more than the West Coast Swing scene. Yeah, and as I said, it's like if this can connect me more so to the music industry, which was my goal initially, then it's a peanut. So where do I prefer to live? I mean, everything has its advantages and bad sides. Like for instance, in France, I have most of my friends from the past years and also my family now because my sister lives in Paris. And it's my culture. So I also feel very like natural there. Berlin, Germany fits me as a soul right now. So I kind of like both. If I had to choose, I would still choose Berlin right now, but I'm not set on it. I feel like I haven't really found my place. And Réunion Island, if it did not require to take a 11-hour flight to go back and forth, and it was not so hard to leave the island to work, I would be living there for sure. But it's not an option. And I always tell this story when I started to dance West Coast Swing. And I was at Season and Swing. And I didn't know who the pro were. You know, it was very new, so you just hear about it. They were the champion. And there was the champion corner where they were all dancing. And then the rest, the muggles on the other side. And I was with my friend Elsa. And we were pushing each other to go invite one, to have a dance with one. It was the big thing. And so at a point, because I didn't know much, I just went and I invited that guy. And I was like, oh, do you want to dance? And I remember it was on a Justin Timberlake song. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's dance. And so we danced and I loved it. And then I went back to my friend and I'm like, hey, I invited a champion like that guy. And she was like, it's not a champion, it's Maxim Zawi. And Maxim was not a champion back then. And it was funny because he's French and we talked to each other in English. So yeah, I always said that story. That was a bit funny back then, yeah. For new projects, I would love to work more with the music industry. This is one of my goals, because like I always wanted to go on tour, for instance, with a band, or to dance live with a musician on stage. So this is like a big part of what I would like to accomplish. We also started to work more with filmography, so doing like short films every year with a residency called Film That Moves. And I love to explore more in the film industry, because this is what I wanted to do before dancing, was working on films. Also, we've been choreographing for dance companies, ballet, contemporary, so I would love more projects like this to also arrive. And we've got our digital platform that we need to progress on. My style in 3 words. I would say organic, flow, and internal. So a recommendation for followers. I mean, it depends for me of your goal in the dance, but what I always tend to say is, instead of looking to find your style by taking from the outside, I always tend to say to start with self-awareness of what you're really doing without judgment, just really observing what's happening within your own body, what you tend to do. And then to observe the outside as just a comparison to get to know yourself better. Not in order to become that, but more in order to say, oh, I do these things differently, what I'm actually doing. And from that place, try actually to encourage what you're already doing by pushing it further and shaping it, instead of putting a foreign movement on your body that is not ready to receive it. So it talks more about authenticity and being okay with who you are, and actually working with who you are instead of becoming someone different. So kisses to you all. Thank you for listening to my stories, if you had, and see you on the dance floor, hopefully.